you not, here we come. South side, west side, east side, north side. Up on the run, we ain't finna none. We came in the party, we here for the fun. Celebrate life, the party we young. Sky's the limit, we looking above. We up in the sun, no matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, SWork, do your thing. SWork, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. SWork, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. SWork, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works.
Sworkshops are a series of online workshops featuring the many incredibly talented friends of SocialWorks. This series aims to inspire and educate, bringing local and national creatives live to your smartphone. They will be sharing and teaching specific aspects of their craft. A wide variety of professions, interests, and hobbies are represented within our curriculum. Did we mention it's a fundraiser too? The stay-at-home notice has students wondering what's to come. For some, graduation and prom will both be canceled. This campaign will directly fundraise a celebration event for those students within the Chicagoland area. Once it's safe, of course. Tune in to any of our socials for one or all of the Sworkshops. You can find the full schedule of programming at SocialWorksShy.org or on our Instagram. Classes start Monday, April 13th. We'll see you there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Social Workshop starring Andrew Barber from Fake Shore Drive. Hope everybody's having a great day out there. I'm going to let some people get in here real quick before I get right into it. But, first and foremost, I just want to do a few prompts. I want to make sure to let everybody know that you can donate to the SocialWorks prom fund. Now, this is for high school students, seniors, people who, weren't able to finish the school year, that weren't able to do prom or have graduation. My hearts definitely go out to those students who were unable to finish their school year, as that's always like the best time of the year. SocialWorks is planning to do something very special in lieu of that. So we're raising money today for that. And as you can see, the Spot Fund right here, shout out to the good people at Spot Fund. It's very quick to set up. You just go in there, go to spot.fund and the backslash is SWorks prom fund. You could do it in a few seconds and every little bit hurts. We want to make sure that all the kids in the Chicagoland area are able to have some kind of celebration at the end of the school year. So I definitely want to prompt that. I also want to tell everybody to go out there and subscribe to the SocialWorks YouTube page. We want to make sure that everybody stays up to date with what they have going on. So that's youtube.com/SocialWorks. So make sure you go do that. And finally, if you want to ask some questions today, you're going to need to do it on Slido. And that's Slido /hashtag/SWorks. And I'll be answering all kinds of questions and having a discussion today. Because basically when Justin and Essence at SocialWorks, the homies, the great people over there, reached out about doing this, I was racking my brain thinking about what I wanted to do. Did I want to do a presentation of some sort? Or, I thought it would be most beneficial to have just a conversation with all the young artists out there, aspiring artists, aspiring music industry professionals, whether you want to do something behind the scenes in journalism, on a blog, in artist management, production. There's so many facets of the music business, and it's more than just being an artist. There's so much more that goes into it, building a team. So I just wanted to kind of open it up to any questions and offer any kind of advice or guidance I can. I may not have all the answers, but I've been doing it for a long time, and I can definitely offer some kind of blueprint for what to do, or at least answer some questions if you have anything regarding labels, publishing, masters of a song, ownership, signing, management, contracts, starting a blog, starting a website, working with artists, consulting, any of that stuff that goes into the music business, I'm here for to answer your questions for the next hour. So before we get into that, I'll just give you a kind of background on who I am, what I do, because some of you probably don't know me. My name is Andrew Barber, and my company is Fake Short Drive. Started Fake Short Drive in October of 2007. So 13 years ago, we started. And this was around the time that blogs had just kind of started popping up. Before that, it was magazines. And then everything kind of started moving online around that time. And I was working a corporate job. And, my dream was to always work in the music business. But in the Midwest, in Chicago, it wasn't like an easy thing to do. At that time, there was really no social media other than MySpace. There was MySpace, there was Facebook, but it was still, you had to be a college student. Not everybody could sign up for it. So social media was in its infancy. And so blogs was everybody was going to get their up-to-date information on music, on music news, things like that. So, I wanted to do something in that space because I was just fascinated with blogs and how it was moving. And I was reading so many of them at the time, and I was like, I know just as much, if not more, than what a lot of these writers are that I'm reading. So I wanted to, give it a try. And at the same time, I was noticing in Chicago, there was only 4 artists here getting coverage on these sites. Common, Kanye, Lupe, or Twista. Those are the 4 artists that were only getting love. And it was weird to me that Chicago being the 3rd largest market in the United States, that there was only 4 major artists getting coverage. And at that same time, there was a lot of exciting stuff happening. A lot of artists, had buzz in the city, from the Cool Kids and Holt and Mano and Kid Sister and Mike Terre, and then to Mickey Halstead and Bump J and GLC. There's a lot of stuff happening here getting coverage. So I wanted to take it upon myself to cover what was happening because I felt Chicago should have a bigger presence on the national stage than what it did. So started that around 2007. Years went by, and then around 2012 is when I met Chance, the rapper, and I Chief Keef, and I knew Vic Mensa from probably 2009 or 10. So I've known a lot of these artists. I've seen a lot of these guys grow up and become huge stars. So it's been great. So that's about me. If you have other questions about what I've done, I'm happy to answer those throughout. But first, I'm gonna jump into these questions. First, Matt 2 times from Instagram. He says, what should we know about management, especially with Rona going around? And that's a good question because I don't really know what the answer is to that. Because obviously management has changed and just the business has changed overall due to this. And we're all trying to figure it out because artists' revenue streams have, pretty much, dried up unless you own your music outright. Streaming is a way to make money right now, but you can't tour, you can't do appearances. It's hard to shoot videos. It's hard to do a lot right now. So, if you are a rising artist, I wouldn't say to even really focus on getting a manager right now because, there's not a lot that they can do for you at the moment. Management is good. Finding a partner would be better, or taking the time during this time when there's so much downtime to figure out the stuff on your own. Do the research. Come on these live streams like this. This is a great place to come learn and ask questions. But don't be industry lazy. Do the research, find out the information, figure out what you want to do, and figure out how to do it yourself. And that's the advice that I always give artists early on. I think a lot of artists want to just have a manager immediately, and it's you don't really need a manager until you can't manage what you have anymore, or unless you're linking up with somebody that can really put you in another position, because I suggest that all artists go out of their way to learn the industry, learn the ins and outs, so nobody can like take advantage of you, and you can be educated because you can do a lot more, and you don't necessarily need somebody to do everything for you. So we have we have another question. For artists who may have been counting on a tour or series of live shows for exposure this year, how do you suggest they reach new listeners during this time? Now, that's a good question. I think, as we're still trying to figure that out, the short answer to that is, being good at social media. And, being good at social media is kind of the key to everything now, even artists on major labels, because a lot of major labels, if you were to take a deal somewhere, they are going to expect you to be good at social media anyway. They rely heavily on that. And so right now, that's all you can really do is communicate with your fans via social media. So, artists that just used to rely on touring or used to rely on, just the music and the music selling itself, are finding themselves in a position where they now also have to be good at social media. They have to go live. They have to, do other things like that. And that's kind of on one hand, it is unfair because, musicians should just concentrate on working on the music and making the best music that they can. I've always thought that. But times have changed, and now there's this new pressure of you have to not only create music, but you also have to be on live and be online 24/7 interacting with fans. So you got to find a good balance to do that. But yeah, you have to get out of that comfort zone of not wanting to go live or feeling corny or feeling weird about doing that, and be better about doing that. And take this time to interact with your fans. If you have a big fan base or small fan base, just take the time to interact with them. So I have another question here from Anonymous. How do you think Chicago's education system could better support students who want to enter the music industry of the traditional college track? Yeah, that's also a great question. I think that, and I've had this, and I even feel this way about college, because college, maybe it does more so now, and I think it depends on where you go. Maybe if you go to Columbia or something like that, and you have a major or a music business major or whatever, unless you're going to that, it's really difficult, and there's really not a course to take. At least there wasn't when I was there, and it could be wrong now. I think Columbia has a great program, and there's probably great programs at a lot of different universities, but I wasn't ever able to take a music industry or a music business class. I think more so than teaching that, I would like to see not just Chicago schools, but schools in general teach people how to be entrepreneurs and how to do taxes and how to be, start an LLC or a sole proprietorship or any kind of company, because it's so difficult. Like, I remember when I first started my company, Fake Short Drive, and I had to, get an LLC and make it an official thing. And, then you got to start paying taxes on it, and you got to figure out how to do all that. That's not something I ever learned in school, in grammar school, middle school, high school, or even college. Nobody taught me how to start my own business and how to pay taxes or how to hold, 15 to 20% of what you make. Like, if somebody pays you $500 to do something, that $500 does not just go straight to your pocket. No, you have to pay on that, Uncle Sam. And I learned that the hard way, because if you don't pay on it, then you start getting letters from the IRS like, hey, you owe X amount of dollars because you didn't pay taxes. I think that is important. Like that, I cannot believe that is not taught. To me, that is more important than, learning about, science things, not all science things, but stuff that you would never use in life. Like, being able to start your own business is something that they should encourage students to do. And that is a good way to enter the music business. But I would love to see more music programs within schools. Those are usually the first things that are cut when, budgets get cut. I would love to see more of that. And I think that's a great thing of what SocialWorks is doing. They've done a great job in providing opportunities and helping people out, which gives me another chance to, to let everybody know to donate here to the SocialWorks Prom Fund, who's going to be, trying to do something special for the seniors this year who were unable to have graduation or prom. We just had another question pop up. What can artists do to engage with their fans? So right now, the only way to really engage with your fans is to be on social media. But figure out a way to do something special for them. I think even before this happened, my biggest gripe with the music industry was the lack of innovation. I just felt like there was such a lack of innovation and new ways to bring fans content and to do things with promotion. Like, it was always the same thing. Like, hey, let's put out an album and make some promo videos, and it's a lot of things like that. But it was just everybody was doing the same model. Like, I think there just needs to be innovation. But right now, I don't have an answer other than like talking to them on social media, or maybe figure out a way to do some kind of private concert, or Zoom meetup for them where you can do a Q&A and answer questions. I mean, even something like this, figure out a way to get involved with SocialWorks or an organization like that where you can do outreach and give back at a time like this, because that's beneficial, and it helps the community and the city and, the industry as a whole. So here's another question from Integrity on Instagram. Best advice for a novice photographer who wants to shoot artists, but the Rona is cop blocking. I like that, cop blocking. That's funny. I don't know. And I feel for the videographers and the photographers out there, because, think of how much work has been lost because of this. But as these restrictions, start loosening, and restrictions, are loosening a little bit, if people are healthy, maybe you can sneak and do some things. I've been seeing some artists here and there sneaking and doing videos. But I urge people to do that. If you're doing that, please use social distancing, wear a mask, and follow the guidelines, because this thing is very, very contagious, and it's easy to get. I even thought I had it. I'm pretty sure I had it because I had direct exposure to it, and I wasn't feeling well, and I had a lot of the symptoms. We still don't know a lot about it. So I just urge everybody, if you're taking those chances for your art, please follow the guidelines that the mayor and the governor have set in place, and try to, be as safe as possible. Here is one from Anonymous. What would you recommend to an artist who wants to stream a concert? I think the easiest way to do that now, I'm sure there's other programs, and I've been hearing more about them. There's one that's about to get launched, where they're about to start doing these live stream concerts. I saw Chances doing one tonight, actually, with Verizon. But the easiest and the cheapest way to probably do it right now is via Instagram Live, and get whatever kind of setup you can, and do it to the best of your abilities. I don't think anybody's expecting you to have some huge setup or situation like Teddy Riley had for his battle with Babyface, where he had a full band, a DJ, and lights and all that stuff. But just try to make it as intimate as possible. But Instagram Live is probably the easiest way to do it. Of course, you can do it on Zoom. Instagram Live does give you just that hour-long window, like what we have today. But yeah, I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. Ryan W. Hamilton asked Twitch. Twitch ? What do you think about Twitch? Twitch is cool. I actually just did my first podcast conversation thing on Twitch earlier this week. Actually, I did on Monday night, and it was cool. The what we're using right now, that Bob and Scott have hooked us up with, this is the best one that I've used so far that I've seen, but I'm not sure everybody will have access to something like that. But Twitch was cool, and I think you can actually earn money on that, and people can subscribe to your Discord and things like that. But yeah, it seems like that if you could figure out how to use that platform, I'm all for it. Get as creative as you can right now. Here is a question from Sam Arb 623 on Instagram. I hope I said that right. How did you get started, and how did you start Fake Short Drive? So I started Fake Short Drive in towards the end of 2007, and I didn't know anybody. I had absolutely zero music industry connections. I was just a fan, and I had been a lifelong fan. I grew up listening to hip hop since I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and my dream was to always work in the music business, or become an A&R, work at a label, be behind the scenes. I never wanted to be an artist myself. I never really had any aspirations to do that, but I always just dreamed of working in the business. But without social media, without the internet, it was difficult to get a foot in the door, especially being in Chicago. Being in the Midwest, there wasn't labels here to go get a job. You had to go to New York or go to LA. So I really just had to start my own thing, and that came in the form of starting a blog, Fake Short Drive, and I did that to cover what was happening in the Midwest later on, but more so focusing on what was happening in Chicago, because I thought it was crazy that Chicago, being this huge market, the third largest market in the United States, why was there only 4 artists that were getting coverage when there was all these talented artists here doing stuff? They just didn't really have a platform. So that's how that really started. And then I just, like I said, I didn't have any connections, and I just would go to every event, because I was already going to these events. I was already going to these concerts every night. And so I just printed up a stack of business cards. Like, I literally printed out like 1,000 business cards. I don't even know if that's, you could print out like 1,000 business cards for like $30 back then. And I would literally go to every event that I could every night. I was going to my day job every day. Then at night, I would go to every concert, event, gathering, lounge, anything music related. I would walking around with these big stack of business cards, and I would just hand them out. And I was like, "Hey, I'm starting this music blog focusing on hip hop in Chicago." People would laugh at me. People were like laughing at me out of the room. They would laugh me out of the room because they couldn't figure it out. People were still trying to sell CDs hand to hand. They were still trying to get their videos on MTV or BET. They weren't utilizing YouTube, and they weren't utilizing the digital landscape. And so what I was trying to do was just, get people educated on how they could promote themselves online. And not only was it free, but it was faster and easier, and you didn't have to go through those proper channels. And that's what I was so excited about, in the blog era, was that it took down some of those barriers that had been put up. Like, no, you have to go through a label to do this. You have to go through a magazine. You have to go through Double XL or The Source or Rolling Stone or one of these big publications to get to be known or be heard. And, the digital revolution, crushed those parameters down, and people could get in and figure out a way to self-promote. I think Chance is a perfect example of that. He found his way doing that, that similar thing when he came in the game. So, I really like the digital pioneers and people who do that. So we have another question coming in. Who did your artwork in the background? This is from Junior DMN We 3D. So all these in the background were done by Chicago artist Hebrew Brantley. I'm sure a lot of you probably know who Hebrew is. Very talented artist and painter. Does movies, music videos, everything. He's a true Renaissance man. So when I started doing these shows with Red Bull, these are from all Red Bull shows that I did with their Sound Select program, starting in 2013, I think we did them. And we ended up doing like 30 shows all over the world, Canada. We did stuff in in Sweden. It was a great opportunity to work with Red Bull to do the Sound Select program. And I was actually the first curator to do a show with them in the United States. And that was in early 2013, and we had Freddie Gibbs headline that. So all these were some of my favorite art and these were inspired by an artist from Chicago named Reggie No, who was Hugh. He lives in LA now, but in the '90s, he was one of the biggest, ad geniuses and creators of marketing at the time. His name was Reggie No. You guys should look him up. And he did all the party flyers. If like you look up early '90s party flyers, hip hop events in Chicago, he did all these hand drawn black and white flyers that were like, to me, they were like the dopest things I've ever seen. And I had Hebrew do a take on those for the events that we were doing. So it was a nod to Reggie No and a salute to him, but also Hebrew's take on those classic uh, flyers. So you can see like, here's one. So what the goal was, I would do like a big headliner from out of town, and then have some younger artists from Chicago on the bill. And that was part of what Sound Select, Red Bull Sound Select was, hey, we'll bring in a big headliner, or it could be somebody locally. And, we'll promote that with independent talent, artists that weren't on record labels at the time, and give them a platform to do shows. So here's one we did with Cameron, where like 2,000 people showed up. That was at Lincoln Hall, and that only holds 500 people. But and the shows were cheap; they were only like $3, and we did that by design to make it affordable and a safe place for people to come do these events. So that one was SD and Show You Suck. The one right behind me that you see with the general, that was when I did at South by Southwest. That was for Master P was a headliner, but also on the show were the Cool Kids, the LEP Bogus Boys, Spenzo, Show You Suck, and a little known artist at the time who was about to blow up named Chance the Rapper. And the funny thing about that was that show was like exactly a month before Acid Rap had come out. So that was really crazy because Chance was on early. He was on at like 2:00 or so. The doors were at like 1:30, and Chance was on at like 2:00. And literally every single record label executive came to that show to see him. Like there was still people coming in the venue. It was outdoors. It was in like a big parking lot that had been turned into a festival stage. The Chance was on super early, and he actually the cover for Acid Rap with the tie-dye tank top was taken that day. That's the tank top that he has on. That's what he performed the show in. So like Leo Cohen was there, Paul Rosenberg, all these big music execs were there trying to scout him and see him. This one was Juvenile, and on that show we had Sicko Mob before they blew up. We had Chris Crack and Kit, and then this one over here is Gunplay, who was on MMG, and also on that show we had all Save Money. We had everybody on Save Money in the building in one spot at the same time performing on that show, and that was like their first time ever performing as a group. And we also had Tink, and that might have been Tink's first show, and also Little Herb and Little Bibby together on the same stage, and that was their first show ever performed. And so that was like a crazy thing where like the undercard all ended up kind of being bigger than the headliner. So that was cool. Let me jump into another question. Not a question, but just saying thanks for the Red Bull shows. Saw the Soulja Boy and Femdot show a few years back. That was epic. Yeah, that was great. So you must have been in, I believe that was in Denver. We did the one with Femdot in Denver. And in one here we did with Warhol, and I think Nina Tech was on that one. We did that at Double Door. That one was super crazy. So thank you for coming and your support on that. I really appreciate that. So here's another question. What do you think of how Frog Leap is using weekly YouTube videos to drive MP3 sales on iTunes and Amazon? I actually don't know what Frog Leap is. I'm not going to pretend. I'm sorry that I don't have the answer to that. Look, here's the thing. Here's some advice. If you don't know the answer to something, just say you don't know. And don't try to BS your way out of it, because I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Next we have, what up, Scuba? Scuba Gooding. Tell him, Barber. Scuba, shout out to Scuba Steve at Red Bull, my guy, longtime friend. Was around for most of, if not all, these shows. Put me in the game. Thank you, Coach. And here we got another question from Junior DMN.we3D on Instagram. It's hard to do entertainment in Chicago because all our peoples leave Chicago to go to other places to get shit done. That is true and not true. you don't necessarily have to leave to get shit done anymore. I think what we're going through now in this global pandemic and the way that we're communicating and doing things now has even made it easier. You know, we're everywhere now. Like I've been doing Zoom calls and podcasts and things with people from all over the world, and it works out. It's not as great as being in person, but you know the digital revolution and technology and social media has made things way easier to get things done and not have to be in the same city. Um, you know, there's obviously nothing better than being somewhere in person, but you can't do it. Now, I do agree that if you are in LA, it's easier to get things done. And people have told me uh, for years, like, come to LA, we'll hire you. We want to give you a job. We want to give you this role to do this and do that, but you got to be in LA. You can't do it from anywhere else. But I'm not, you know, I believe there needs to be pillars here in Chicago working and making things happen. And I think, you know, we've seen a lot of our bigger artists not leave and be able to stay here and thrive and have a great career. So, you know, it is important to travel there. You do need to travel there. You need to be visible there and pop in and out. But I think you can live here and stay in Chicago and have a career in entertainment, in music. I mean, I think uh, a lot of the people on this wall back there are that is proof. Chance is proof of that. So you can do it, and it's been made a lot easier. All right, so let me go to the uh, Nira J, Niraj, Dave, 007. I'm sorry if I'm saying these names wrong. This is beautiful. Thank you for sharing your take on networking. Thank you. I appreciate you for just tuning in and being a part of this. Looks like you have another question too. Can we be friends on LinkedIn? What platform do you recommend to collaborate? I actually never use LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn, but I don't actively um, use LinkedIn, but I know it's beneficial for certain businesses. I'm not sure that it's very beneficial for the music business, and I could be wrong, and I don't mean any disrespect to uh, LinkedIn by all means, but that has not been the most. I have never gotten any business from LinkedIn, to be 100%. Next question. This is an anonymous one, and I want to one more time prompt everyone to go to you can see it at the bottom of the screen, the SocialWorks .org backslash SWorkshops to see what workshops are coming up, and also to donate to the Spot Fund for the SWorks Prom Fund. You can see the address right there. Again, we want to do something special for the seniors of high school in the Chicagoland area who are unable to have graduation or prom this year. You know, my hearts do go out to them. So let's all donate something and make it beneficial, and you know, make it a night to remember for them. Also, subscribe to the SocialWorks YouTube page, and that's youtube.com/SocialWorks. And keep sending those questions via Instagram or the slido.com /# SWorks. So let me go back to the questions here. What is your favorite show you've promoted? Oh, that's so tough because there's been so many memorable ones. They're all like the four that you see up there are four of my favorite for their own reasons. And I kind of talked about a lot of those shows. But I really love doing the Master P show because I love Master P so much. Some of you watching might be a little too young to remember the dominance of Master P. But it was a blessing that Red Bull let me do that show because I'm not going to say it was a no or even a question because they trusted me. And that was why we worked so well together. And I think that's important when you have a working relationship with another party or entity that they trust you. And they were like, all right, that sounds crazy to do a Master P show, but let's do it. We did it. And we had to hire, he requested 2 armed guards. So we had to get these Texas state troopers with the big hats, and they had these huge, dirty, hairy guns. And we had to pay him in all cash. And, you know, he was 4 hours late and he showed up on this tour bus with all these people. So that was a real special one. because we had like 2,000 people there, and it was in this parking lot. And also it was great because Chance was also on that show, and like I said, Chance performed like super early at 2 p.m. and like all the record executives were there to see him. So that was a memorable one. But really, pretty much every show I've done has been a memorable one, including the 10-year anniversary that I did in 2017. I can't believe that was already 3 years ago. You know, we had so many artists from Chicago pop out in a surprise, and we reunited the big timers, which is Birdman and Manny Fresh. If you don't remember them, and we had King Louie and the Cool Kids and Herb and Bump J, Twist, Femdot was on that, GLC, Chance and Taylor were there. So that was cool. That was a really fun night. Let me see. Hello, Andrew. Don't leave. I look forward to seeing you and following you. Thank you for being there and making my life brighter. Love, Mama Jan. Oh, Mama Jan, what up? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That means a lot. You know, I appreciate you tuning in and all your support over the years. And like, you know, I'm not going anywhere. I appreciate it. You all the support and coming and always being a part of this and all the love that you've shown me over the years. It really means a lot. You know, because sometimes being in the entertainment world can be a very thankless job. And so it's always good to get some positive reinforcement. So please, you know, show love to the artists and the creators and the people out there who are in front of the camera, but also the people behind the scenes who kind of make things go. So, you know, shout out to everybody out there. Let me go to the next question. How did you hook up with Hebrew? Anonymous asked that question. So I met Hebrew like around 10 years. I always knew I've known who Hebrew was for, you know, 15, 20 years or whatever. But we had never met each other. I'd seen him around, but we didn't meet until our offices happened to be on the same floor at this office building in Chicago called Lacuna. Lacuna is still open. It's in Pilsen. I don't know if it's still called Lacuna because the owners, shout out to Joey Cacciatore and the Cacciatore family, they owned it, but they no longer own it. I think it's still called Lacuna. But Hebrew and I, we were on the 4th floor of that building, and we were on opposite ends of the building. But we met there. We were like the only two. It was the building was brand new, and we were probably the only two people on the floor. There might have been like 3 other offices or two or 3 offices on that floor total at the time. And so we hit it off almost immediately. We became fast friends that way, and then we kind of just started hanging out every day. We had a lot of, you know, we're the same age, and we have a lot of the same likes as far as music and culture and 90s culture and 2000s. And, you know, we just had a lot in common, and we became fast friends, and we've been friends ever since. You know, he lives in LA now, but we still talk, you know, almost every day or a few times a week. And you know, at the end of the day, we're friends, but I am also just a fan of his art. He's one of the most talented, hardworking people I've ever met. Like, one of the craziest work ethics of anybody I've ever met. So shout out to him. Let me see what else we got here. Anonymous, do you see animation as playing an even bigger role in music videos across the board, given the challenges of filming music videos for the next year? Probably. Absolutely. And I know that a lot of labels and managers and artists are already implementing that. They're already doing animated videos. Now, I've never been a big fan of animated videos. I know a lot of labels like to do animated videos. I think they're cool at a certain time, but I don't love them. I prefer to see people doing it. But now, you know, this is a time where, you know, we have a lot of challenges and we can't necessarily do that, especially artists that live in different cities. Like, it's one thing if you live in the same city as an artist and you know, keep social distancing guidelines and you can kind of shoot a video that way. But, you know, if you're in Chicago and you have a song with somebody in Atlanta and in California, you're not going to be able to do that video. So the animated video might be the only choice. So you know, I'm going to expect to see those, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm expecting to see some really innovative things. You know, I want to see some really innovative and creative things. And that's always what I've looked for. My eye has always been on looking for creative ways to push music. So here is Somebody says anonymous says it's Blue Lacuna now, but I may be mistaken. Yeah, it might be that. So shout out to everybody at Lacuna and who's there now. Here's a question from Sam RB623. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. What is your role at Fake Shore Drive now, and how has it changed, developed from the early days? So it's changed so much, and I think my advice to people within um, that are aspiring to be in the music business or work in the music industry is like always be evolving, always looking for ways to change and reinvent yourself, and because look, it's changing. It's changed even in the past 2 or 3 years, let alone the past 13 years. And it's even changed in the past 2 months now with the quarantine and the pandemic and everything. So like everything is constantly changing. So you have to always be ready to adapt. Like you don't want to just do one thing and get stuck there because dinosaurs become extinct, and you cannot be a dinosaur in this business, or you will become extinct because you can't. If you have one thing, you can't just hold on to it. So I started noticing probably 5 or 6 years ago that blogging was changing. The ad revenue on blogs was completely changing. The way the traffic was coming in was completely changing. People weren't going to blogs as much. They were spending more time on social media. People the discussions had moved from the comment sections on sites to Twitter, and comment section personalities were now Twitter personalities, and they were building their own brands. And it was a platform for people to do that, and people wanted the content faster and quicker, and they didn't want to take that extra step to click on a link or go to a blog every day and flip through the post. They wanted to have it right then. So I knew I had to change my model just from writing blog posts to being better at social media, being better at Twitter and Instagram and whatever. Like, as you probably know, if you follow me, Twitter is my preferred method. I have my most interaction on there, best engagement, most following. And I think there's a lot of good conversations to be had on Twitter, whereas Instagram is more pictures and things like that. And that's cool, but I prefer Twitter. So you really got to be good at that. And thankfully I had an opportunity. This was like probably one of my first opportunities was, brands started reaching out to pair up to do events or do promotion or do consulting. So I started seeing that. And then I started working with different brands, like Red Bull being the biggest, my longest, running company that I've done, a lot of work with over the years. And they gave me a shot to start doing concerts. So then I moved in to start understanding how to do concerts and events and how to promote shows and do marketing concepts and things like that. And, I learned a lot doing that. Then I started doing artist management within the last couple of years, and I managed Valet. I managed Lucky a long time ago, but Valet was somebody that I've been working with very closely for the past few years. We just had we just got a gold record for Womp Womp a few months ago. So very excited about that. So, I just try to learn every facet of the business inside and out. Like I said, during this downtime, I highly suggest all people educate themselves on all facets of the music business. I love doing management because I could learn, and working with a label, like learning how the ins and outs of a record label, how a major record label works, and how budgets are allocated, and how A&R works, and all that stuff. And as much as I knew about the music industry, those were things that I didn't know all the way. Now I'm very educated in that. So I was thankful I did it. So that kind of leads to the next question. What would you say you do now? This is from Andy Soto 54. What up, Andy? That's not only blogging. I kind of answered that, but I can give you a little bit more information. I don't just do blogging anymore. I really don't even blog anymore. Most of my content is on social media, mainly Twitter and Instagram. I do artist management. I have a radio show that I do with Ty, at some guy named Ty, every Sunday night on Shade 45, and it's 2 hours of nothing but Midwest music. And here again, we're putting on for the Midwest. We do 2 hours of music from only Midwest artists every Sunday night on Shade 45, which is on Sirius XM. Shout out to Rosenberg and Eminem for the opportunity on that. We've been doing that for 5-6 years now. where Ty and I curate the first hour mainly. Ty does it, and then for the second hour we have a guest DJ from around the Midwest come in and play music for what's hot in their market, because I want more artists from the Midwest to get radio play. And I also do playlisting for Apple Music. I do the new Chicago playlist for them. Trying to get artists more exposure on these playlists, because that's the future as well. Here's the next question. Do you think record labels are scouting to start corporate offices in Chicago? How would that change or impact the music scene? No, I thought that they would around 2012 when Chicago exploded. I thought they would for sure start opening more offices here, or at least hire A&Rs here, or have some kind of staff here other than radio people. But even then, they didn't. And that's, I'm not saying that's an issue with labels. I would love to see more labels started out of here. That may be a joint venture with a major, but like the music business has pretty much moved exclusively. They're not exclusively in LA, but everybody's in LA now. So I think they're going to focus more on, doing more things in LA, moving more of their staff out there. Because the music industry is just in New York or LA. But a lot of those New York people are shutting down, going to LA. A lot of the UMG people, from marketing to the execs, they all live in New York, and I don't see that changing. But yeah, it's weird that they never put any offices here. There are label people here that do radio, that are like radio promo team. Shout out to them. But I don't think they'll ever put like a major label office here. Even at the height of the business, I don't think they ever had that here. So here's we only got 10 minutes left, so I got to start answering these little questions a little quicker. Sorry if I'm long-winded here. We got two from Mary Machine. What up, Mary? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. We need a fake short drive block party when this is all over. Yes, I agree. I always wanted to do like a festival or a block. I never wanted to do a festival. I wanted to do a block party. Every time we got started on that, something would happen. We never followed through. I had some opportunities to do them like a festival years ago, but I didn't really want to. A lot goes into that. And like you plan it all and it could all fall down. Things happen. But now I think I'm ready to do that. So I'm with you on that, Mary. Let's do one. Let's get together and do that when it's all said and done. And then you had another question. Any predictions for live music in the next few years? Well, when I saw that, that article came out that said they're probably not going to do any more live shows until fall 2021. That broke my heart. Live shows are everything. That is the lifeblood for the music industry. It's the lifeblood for so many artists. People live on touring. And I think a lot of times we immediately just think of the big artists, but we don't think about the artists who perform at the festivals, the bars, the nightclubs, the jazz artists, the blues artists, the people that just do gigs, small gigs, and live on that. They're not big, making millions touring. But there's also the venues, the tech people, the sound guy, the people that build the sets of the stage, the promoters. There's so many people that are involved in this and have made a living on this. It just breaks my heart. And that was a large part of my business as well. So it's so unfortunate. I don't know what the future is going to look like. I've been seeing that different states are toying with the idea of opening up music venues with a cap, with a certain number, under 250 or 20% capacity, where people have to, stand social distance. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, what it's going to look like, because while the live stream shows are cool, nothing compares to the roar of the crowd and the energy in the room and seeing people and the social aspect. Going to get a drink at the bar, just small stuff like that you took for granted that you can't even do now. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing, or I don't know if people are going to be scared to go out, but I think you're going to see a lot more of the Travis Scott, Kid Cudi thing with Fortnite. But like I said, that only benefits those big artists, those big A-list artists. And that's not necessarily fair to up-and-coming artists or, the smaller artists who live on the road. So, my prayers for a vaccine. Here's Gardenia Roses on Instagram. What would you recommend for a novice pianist who hasn't played in 7 years and just got an Akai. Man, that's another one where I'm going to say I don't have the answer for that. I'm not that well versed in that. I would say keep playing, learn it while you have the downtime, while you're sitting there. Where I don't know how to play any instruments or make beats or anything like that, so I can't give you the best advice on that. I would just say keep practicing. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna tell you up front, look out for Dope Money. And this is from Junior Damn Weed on Instagram. Well, I'm gonna tell you up front, look out for Dope Money Empire. It's my label coming from Chicago, hopefully. Okay, great. I'm gonna look out for it. I'm gonna check it out. I wish you nothing but success. And I would love to see more labels and people doing that independently here. So congratulations to you. Another question while we got a few more minutes left. How do you find up and coming artists? There's no, I don't have like one way to find it. I'm always looking for new artists. I'm always looking for new music. Always. I mean, my quest for that has never ended because, there's so many creative people out there, but now there's so many artists. There's so much competition. There's so much noise in whatever to cut through. The clutter is hard to get through, but I'm never necessarily concerned about numbers. Like, I'm not a person that's just going to say, oh, he's got X amount of streams, this must be good. No, I mean, you could have 5 streams and it could be really good, and I might embrace it. And that's kind of how I always looked. I always look for really creative artists, people making different music, making new music, making, just trying different things and being different, because there's so much stuff that all just kind of sounds the same. And I think a lot of, how many minutes? I'm sorry. Only got 5 minutes left, so get those questions in. But I just look for creative people that are doing good stuff, being different, trying new things, and that care, that care thing being, caring about the way your artwork looks like, caring about how the music sounds, caring about the presentation of videos. And now you don't have to have a huge budget to do this stuff. Like, you don't need a ton of money to do things now. So, I'm just always looking for something new and cool. Innovation is key right now. Innovation is definitely key right now. And I don't have all the answers, but we're going to all have to be very creative on how we make money and survive right now. I mean, it's a scary time for all people in the music business because nothing's guaranteed. So, I wish everybody the best of luck out there. So I don't know if we have any more questions, but that's really it. I think, it's been great to sit here and chat with everybody for the past hour. I hope it's been beneficial. And I've been able to answer some questions and give people some ideas here. I also want to just remind everyone to subscribe to the SocialWorks YouTube page. That's youtube.com/SocialWorks. Make sure you go subscribe to their page. And make sure that you download to the Spot Fund here for SWorks Prom Fund, where they're trying to do something super special and nice for the seniors in high school who weren't able to go to prom and able to have graduation this year. So shouts to them, shout out to SocialWorks. If we don't have any more questions, I think that's it. So thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it. If you need to follow me or you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up at fakeshortdrive@gmail.com. You can always send your music there. I got some time now, so I'm happy to check it out. Social media, I'm at fakeshortdrive on all platforms, so please follow me on there. Again, my name is Andrew Barber from Fake Short Drive. Appreciate the opportunity. Love doing this workshop today. Hope to come back and do it again sometime soon.